Looks like we are live. Let's hope we can do this correctly today. Greetings, programs. Welcome to the Funderground. Today is Friday. There are not a lot this week, but there are several that were quite interesting to me. Not really going to do any news. We're just going to jump straight into it. So let's get right into the business. All right. And first up, for our Funderdog, we have, I'm not sure. That's not correct. You know why? Because I'm in the wrong section. That's why. See, this is what happens. This is what happens when you try and fix things. There we go. That is what I was looking for. All right. So, our first Funderdog should be... Yes, there we go. So, first up this week, we have Adventure Party. It's already funded, as you can... and also, we have a new thing here. Look at that. See how quickly that was? Oh, there I am. Oh, I'm gone. Oh, I'm back. As we can see, this is already funded, which is good. This is a really interesting idea. It's this. You play 3 rounds, but it's like it basically feels like it's a game made for GMs who want to get together. Because what happens is a scenario is presented, and then you roll a die behind your screen, and then you have to try and get whoever the GM is for that round, get them to pick, to guess what you rolled based on your behavior in response to the event. So one of the examples that they give is of course, the classic tavern brawl. And so you're the bard in this scenario, and everybody gets, you get 2 cards that you can use. And so whatever you roll, and they give you a guideline that you roll a 20-sided. A 10 is a barely made it, a 9 is a barely failed. And so based on what you say and do, you hope that you will convince the GM to guess as close as possible. The closer they guess, the more experience your group gets. But then everyone else will also try and guess, which gives them like bragging rights. It's glory points. But what's neat is that you continue around until everybody's had a turn with their character in the scenario, and then you see how much experience you earned. It's not a huge campaign, obviously. I think it's more kind of an evening of release kind of approach to a game. I do like, though, how much it turns everyone into a storyteller, which is why I think it's more of a GM-centric, because everybody's trying to describe the outcome as opposed to just describing what they do based on whatever role they got. This is like they're really trying to be very specific, which I think is would at least hone your skills as a GM should you play this. The only thing that gives me a little pause, which isn't a big deal, is that there's 25 scenarios. So I think if you play 3 rounds, you're going to quickly come to an understanding of just, I feel like there should be more scenarios. If you're doing 3 each, what is that? Like, it's not even 10 games of that before you've seen every possible scenario. Now, obviously, you can make up your own scenarios, so it really doesn't matter in the end that there's only 25. But it's definitely a good launching point. All right, so our next one is Bad Baby Lich Lords, which just passed its funding goal. I really like this. This is a really cool, fast-paced game with some great style, some really interesting designs. I like. So you only have to take 3 of these. So you take a tableau of 3 of these panels, and what you're trying to do is be the one to wake your dad. So apparently the Lich Lord, the king, has eliminated all life on the planet. So everybody's dead. So so each one of these, you know what I don't have for you guys? That. There we go. Yay, we're back. Okay. So in each one of these sections is a location, and and next to it are all the creatures that will spawn from it, and they're all 2-sided, and the side that's always up is their skeleton side, because everything's already dead. So you will raise, you'll take an action to bring a skeleton back to life. See? Look, there was a little skeleton bug, and now it's a happy bug. Isn't that cute? And so you have to, so the process is you just want to keep bringing them out, but you can, it can turn into a free-for-all because these creatures, so there's these little icons on the bottom one. So this one's digging. Then there's fighting. And so every time, at every turn, there's the minions activate, and they do all of their stuff in order. And so this guy, when he becomes active, he will attack whatever's next to him, and then he'll dig up another skeleton, bring it into play. But then they can do things like this little symbol means that they can move between the different areas. And I'm not entirely certain what all of them do. Like I think this is teach, and that has you pick up a spell that you then have to use. And so what ends up happening is all of these creatures can move back and forth, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to meet the requirements of this location. So here, you need to have 2 creatures that have either the move or the teach. That's it when you get them out. But obviously you have no idea what is going to be on the cards as they go down, as you go through them. So it can take a little while to get what you need. But also, they have to be alive. They don't count if they're skeletons, and they're constantly killing each other and moving around and then making you play spells that damage things. And the thing is, you can use, I believe you can use either side of the board to acquire the location. And when you acquire the location, at the top there's a little number, and whoever gets to the number 5 first, that means you've generated 5 loud, and now you've woken your dad up, and he's gonna, I don't know what a Lich King would do to his kids for waking him up, but I doubt it would be play with them. But anyway, that's basically it. It's quick. Everything you do has sort of a cascading effect on everything around you, so it's really hard to anticipate. But it's not. It feels more like chaos than randomness, which I think is a key element. If it felt, I think I'm a little hot, guys. Sorry. If it felt like everything, wow, I'm really hot. Hey, how about now? There we go. So if it felt like everything was just completely random, it wouldn't be fun. But you can guide a lot of stuff, and things that happen, you can anticipate some of it. And you can see the path, and you can make choices throughout on, sometimes when you can make the choice on when something happens or doesn't, because some of them give you the choice to do one or the other. It's crazy. I think it would be a ton of fun to play with your kids, because I really think that at any moment, victory can be snatched from the jaws of defeat, as it were. Looks like a really fun game. So let's move on to our next one, which is Solar Titans. And this is a very interesting little scenario. I love this because it's sci-fi. That's my thing. It really is. But also, it's deck building. So now they got me twice. And then lastly, it's not just deck building, it's ship building. So you are a captain or a crew of a ship, depending on the game mode that you play. You start with a set of cards in a specific shape. So you get a ship shape, and that dictates it. And throughout the game, you can build onto that ship within a 5x5 grid, but you can never have more than 15 cards in play on your ship at once. And then weapons, so and you start shooting, you can start shooting. So the way you fire weapons is you have to draw the crew, the weapons crew. I think that's what they're called. That might not be what they're called, but I believe they're the guys in red here. And you can activate your weapon systems per card that you have. So you could literally, like, as soon as the game starts, begin firing. And I think that is probably why they give you, I don't see them on here, they give you 5 repairs. So you get 5 cards that you can use to repair a section. Right, and I think that was probably just a really simple solution to having half your ship blown up by the second turn. Excuse me. So what I think is great is the weapons have different arcs of fire. Some shoot straight in. Some of them shoot in, like, to hit 2 spots at once. Some of them penetrate, and then some of them can arc around and come in from the sides. And what you're trying to do is protect your command deck. So you have to constantly try and protect that while still trying to build up armament to return fire. All the while, the cards that you spend earn you currency that allow you to get more cards and ship parts to try and rebuild your ship or expand it or enhance it. I think it's great. There's just no two ways about it. It's got all of the stuff I love in just about any game. And it's capital ships. It feels, it's got that, it's not like a bunch of little X-Wing miniatures running around. Like, these are big, meaty ships just firing at each other. And there's actually a game mode, I think it's Titan versus Titan. Is it? Oh, Titan Takedown. And then there's, Titan Duel. So this would be where you'd have an even larger ship starting, and then you're playing as 2v2. I'm not sure how that would work. Making those decisions. Do you have 2 entire hands of cards? I didn't read to that part, but everything about this sounds great. The solo mode, another great addition. It's a little AI that is constantly hammering you. It's just like a race to survive. I think it's really great. Let me pop out of here and we'll take a look. So they're good. It's made, but we got plenty of time here and plenty of room to back this. Also, here you go. $25 for the game. Or is it? Wow. Yeah, $35 for the full with, what is this, shipping and a limited print art book for $35. So for $25, this sounds like a great little stocking stuffer kind of game. Really, let's see what I wrote, because I always write something down. Did I write anything different? No. Oh yeah. Well, the one thing that I felt was missing, but I understood based on the way the style of the game is, I kind of missed the idea, or I was hoping that you could get to actually build. There would be a phase of building your ship initially, like in the shipyard. But I realized that would be really dull for 2 people, just sitting on opposite sides of the table doing their own thing until they can get there. And then what if somebody played really well and got their ship out first and just started hammering your shipyard? That probably wouldn't be very much fun. So I think they did the right thing, just having you start with ships and then just try to enhance as you go. Really cool little system. I like it. Back it if you can. Next up, we have Coney. And no, not Coney Island. They are referring to rabbits. It's a rather cute resource gathering placement puzzle game with cards. So you have to build a farm on a 3x3 grid, and you have to, and there's adjacency concerns. So certain rabbits need certain other types of rabbits adjacent to them. It's all orthogonal. And once you put a rabbit in, you can also trade the rabbit for resources to acquire different rabbits. Every rabbit has these two sections at the bottom, which is, so there can be an action that happens immediately. There can be an ongoing action that happens every turn when that rabbit is in play, or they have a condition that they meet at the end of the game for victory points. So every rabbit, so while the rabbits come in batches of 3 visually, well, not always, but generally, so like you see there's 3 of a kind here, 3 of a kind here. However, all of their data down below is different. So every single rabbit is unique. And then this lists like the color that they contain. And so that'll be one of the adjacency rules, is it has to be next to a rabbit that has a black color, right? So you can't put it next to the white one, right? Or it has to have multiple colors. And then every one of these rabbits, when you place it, you activate whatever happens here, and then there's also a final extra winning condition, as you can see down here in this they call it a coupon, this little pinkish strip to the right. Sometimes there's a logo, and there are some winning conditions. Those logos are like rabbit farms, and so if you have a collection, a certain number of rabbits with that rabbit farm logo, you get additional points. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll move pretty quickly. It's there's no take that. It's just very much like, let's just build our little rabbit pen and try to get the most victory points. This is like a gentle Sunday afternoon game, which strangely is actually going to come up at least one more time today, if not twice. So let's take a look. How are they doing here? So they're double their goal. But again, we could do better, right? This is a great little game. I love the art. It's small, moves quickly, looks like it'd be a ton of fun to play with your kids. Gives you a lot of hard choices to make, because you really want that rabbit because it's going to give you these amazing victory points, but it no longer works with all the other rabbits you have to put in, so you got to get rid of it, exchange it for some resources, and then it's like, but that allows you to, actually finish out the game. Looks fun. Back it, people. I'm going to warn you, slight trigger warning for the next game. It's unusual. Yes. It is literally Dead Grandma. It has a subtitle, which is a card game of inheritance. So, in the game, Grandma's dead, and you have to try and prove you were her favorite and collect all of her things that she liked the most in order to become her favorite. It is so weird. What really, really got me, at first I was just like, okay, the art's a little odd, it has an unusual theme, which is I guess that's one way to describe it. But what hooked me almost instantly were 2 of Grandma's favorite things, some of the things you're trying to collect, the fluffy toilet seat and the old velvet chair that is a 1 out of 10 comfort. That was a punch in the gut. I never had a grandparent with one of those perpetually cold, hairless animals. Thank goodness. But yeah, if you have not had to sit on a fluffy toilet seat at your grandparents' house, you're a lucky individual. I know it's in poor taste, but it is funny. if I have one caveat here, it's that some of the pledge levels don't really feel like they needed to happen. Like, I don't know why there's a $200 level. It's not necessary. The game, you get, for $35, you get this one and then an upcoming expansion. But for $25, which seems to be a running theme, $25 for a card game. Yeah, it's goofy, it's weird, but it's funny. And I like that there is a lot of take that in the game. You do a lot of things because you have to earn your points, but you can take it away from people. I love this. Get left at the gas station on the family road trip. So what you're trying to do is prove that you were the favorite, right? That's the point of the game. And so if you hit someone with this, then you're clearly stating to them that they were not the favorite child if they got left at a gas station. Oh, it's horrible. And I like this block card. So you prevent someone else from playing a card by flopping down on the couch and kicking as hard as you can. I mean, yeah, I love the humor. All right, next up we have ExoFauna Duo. Okay, this is very cool. It's a card game where you have 2 watering holes. And first of all, let me just state, love the art. The creatures look fantastic. Take a look at this. Here we go. There it is. Look at all these things. I love this little 2-legged parrot peacock hybrid. This thing looks like it literally just walked off of a Jim Henson set. Yeah, I think these are great. So what you do is you have 2 watering holes, one of each color, and you have cards that are your color. So one of you is red, red and blue. One of you is blue, and one of you is yellow. And you lay cards. And just like in almost every game so far, there are adjacency issues, I believe. But what's more important is every creature has one of 3 abilities. And some of them rely on there being no other creatures of that type. And so these abilities, when you put them down, you enact them, and some of them will push creatures over to the other side, get rid of creatures, drawing cards, that kind of thing. But what you were trying to do is surround one of the watering holes with, it has to be completely surrounded, right? So you got to get all 8 cards around the watering hole. But here's the key. Whoever has the most creatures, so it doesn't have to be completely surrounded with yours, it just has to be, the majority of the cards have to be yours. And in the event of a perfect split, 4 of them and 4 of you, the watering hole goes to the matching color. So if it's 4 yellow and 4 blue and it's a yellow watering hole, then the yellow player gets it. And when when you are forced to discard cards, or when you cause cards to discard, they don't go back to their player, they go under your deck. So there's this ebb and flow of the content going back and forth, providing, so there's a lot of strategy in what do I want to get rid of, because I might want to use that. Maybe I don't want to get rid of this card because I'm going to have to take it and it sucks. Maybe I'll wait a turn and use this to get rid of the other card that I really want to use in a clutch moment. In the clincher, in a clutch moment. So I think it's just beautiful. I love the simplicity of the design with the really intricate creatures. Concept, again, it's a very simple thing with a lot of hard choices, and I think that makes it great. Let's pop out, and yeah, so they're already going, but again, it's 3 days to go, which is I'm probably not gonna make a huge push for them at this point, because who's going to see this? But I think this is a great game, and it deserves a lot of love. And so, where does that bring us to? Oh, wow. That's it for Funderdogs, folks. We are now off to the races with the Funderground Pick of the Week. Now, the very first, and this week we only have one, and our pick this week is Kraken Skulls. I love it. just for the pun. But more so, I love it for the pirate theme. There was a forgive me, I'm gonna wax rhapsodic with you a moment after this is a mixture of limeade and tea. I don't know what to call it yet. I love pirates. I love pirate games. Anything pirate based. I have. This is actually a prop for later, but as you can see, this is Tiny Epic Pirates, and it has inside it. And you had to know that this was one of the main reasons I got it. Look at all those tiny metal coins. Delicious. So, I love pirates. There was a game by WizKids, came out almost 20 years ago now. Not quite, close to 20 years ago. It's called, funnily enough, Pirates. And the first one, the core game, or the first expansion, if you will, first set, was Pirates of the Spanish Main. And it was booster packs of this styrene cards that were about a little bigger than a credit card, and you popped out little pirate ships, and you assembled them, and then you fought. It was really straightforward. Just send them in to collect gold from islands and get it home, but then also try and take out all of your opponent's ships as well. A friend of mine and I tried to make it a little more complex, so we created a little system of a series of islands that when you landed on them, you rolled a die, and whatever you rolled triggered an event for you, but it also triggered an opposing event that anybody could engage in. So, like, rescue the governor's daughter, and then, but then the other side, it would spawn a Kraken somewhere. Anyway, loved that game so much, bought everything I could for it, still have it, love it, and I always wanted to get back to that version of it that I created to try and make something. Well, now it turns out I don't have to, because someone else did it, and it is awesome. So you have 6 big cards, and they alternate between open sea and islands. The open sea is where the Kraken will show up, and then each island has like a mini game that you have to play if you land there. And I mean, you're trying to become the most notorious pirate. And you can bury treasure on an island, and then you can, and if you bury treasure on that island, you could also bury a booby trap in there, and anybody can dig up treasure on any island, so you can set it up for somebody else. You have 2 die that you use to battle, but you can upgrade to get more die, and that dice, sorry. 2 dice, 1 die. Sorry, I don't know why I'm doing that. But you can have a max of 4. You can battle each other. You can fight the Kraken. You do not fight the Navy. They just sit in port and they capture you, and you have to try and escape. I love that not only is every island, every port, a mini game that you can potentially engage in. There are 15 of those cards, and you shuffle them up, and you deal out 6, and then you flip 3 of them, which means, and so every open water on the reverse is an island, a port. So that means there's 15 potential mini games, but you only ever see 3 at a time. So there's a lot of replayability here. I also really love. I don't know why I love this so much, but I think it's fantastic. One player, if they draw the black mark, the Kraken then chases you, and it just follows you, and every turn it just keeps getting. But which isn't it can't get to you if you're in port, but you can only move 1 space. So. And then if it moves, it just jumps to the next open water. So you have to go to open water. But I think that there are some modifiers with cards that will allow you to move. But once you get that black spot, you are doomed to fight the Kraken. Now, there's a condition where you can beat the Kraken. And even if you die, you don't really die in the game. You just get kicked out or you lose some of your renown, glory, fame. I don't know. Yeah, I love this thing. This is the pick of the week. I think it's just a ton of fun. I love the colorful, almost play school-esque art and color choices. Yeah, there it is. Oh no, that's map sabotage. So that will let you force someone to go the other direction, which would be horrible for the person trying to run away from the Kraken. Yeah, and so then you'll battle each other. You roll cards. Obviously, you have cards that will alter whether you have swords or cannon. Yeah, there's a ton of little things going on in here, and you use treasure to purchase additional cannon, to get that extra die. But it's not easy. Like, collecting treasure is not the easiest thing in the game, which I think is good. It shouldn't just be flowing everywhere. So what are we looking at here? Pop out. Digital print and play for $5. Then you can get the base game for $30. There it is. 2 for $55. $30 for an awesome pirate game. Done. I really think you should jump into this. Looks fantastic to me. All right, so let's move on to my selects. Okay. So our first one is... Ooh. Is this right? No, that's not right. There it is. Fairies and Magical Creatures. This is the other Sleepy Sunday game that I mentioned. It's really neat. They're doing well. This is why they're not a Funderdog, because they're doing okay here. They're at 56,000 already. 694 people have backed it. This is doing all right. This is a neat game. It has a follow the leader mechanic. So player one, whatever action, there's like 5 actions you can take. Whatever action they take, everybody has to take that action. However, every one of those actions can play out very differently for each player. So you have fairy kingdoms. And also I want to say, the art is not to my personal taste, but it's fantastic. I'm more of a Brian Froud kind of fairy art enthusiast. But this is, honestly, I have no idea how long it took this person to create this. Annie Steg Gerard. There we go. This is incredible, detailed, gorgeous stuff. I love the little gnome dude. So, look at this. We get a little example. I mean, seriously, it takes forever. Really, really, really talented individual. So, you have a garden. You earn points by having flower beds in your garden, but they have to be adjacent to a path. And so it's like Tetris-esque. But every piece, you can flip it. One side is path, the other side is flowers. But it makes sense. Like flowers that you can't see from the path, obviously, why would they score you points? You can't see them. So you're trying to make a path through your little garden while planting flowers and also appeasing several different fairy groups. And you do this you give them these little tokens to demonstrate your affinity with them. And if you ever get to like the maximum level with one group, you then can put sort of like a building of theirs in your garden, which will then enhance the points of all the flowers around it. Yeah, just straightforward. I love the giant cards that let you see all that art. It doesn't feel very rushed. The whole system seems to just it just rolls at your pace. It's sort of like I said, it just feels like a sleepy Sunday afternoon kind of game, which is great. The only other thing that I did like, that I should mention to you, is that on the garden, there are little icons, and covering up those icons earns you those things, and that's where some of the hard choices come in. I want to go over there, but if I do that, I might not be able to get back to and touch every edge of this flower that I really wanted to get. So, some tough choices, but still kind of straightforward, and it's really pretty. So, I mean, right? That's the full boat, right? Let me see here. Oh. So, what's up next is Tiny Epic boxes. I warned you that the Epic was coming back, and I did not lie. So this is officially licensed by Gamelin Games, but it's not Gamelin. It's, who are they? E-Raptor. Okay, so I brought props. That is half of the Tiny Epic saga. That's half of it. The other half is downstairs. I wasn't going to do that to you, or to my back, really. I love these things. Now, what has started happening, I've been backing them. I missed the first one, so I had to buy that, but I've been backing them on Kickstarter ever since the second one. Now, in the past couple of them, they have started introducing additional pieces. So here's Tiny Epic Dungeons, and then here's Tiny Epic Dungeons Stories. So if you haven't played one of these, they're great. They're really well designed. They're streamlined. You get a ton of play out of a very small box. But as you can see here, it's full to the brim, right? It is absolutely packed. I will not lie to you. Some of these are an absolute bear to put back into the box. It gets real ugly. So when there's an addition, obviously that's not going in there, which is why I have this. Now, a friend of mine introduced me to an Etsy solution. He got this for me, which is what you saw. So now this is Pirates plus the expansion. And so then we got ghostly cubes and ghostly cards. Now, if you notice, these cards have a two-layered, because there's a secondary component to all the cards. And then there's a bunch of these trays that each have a ship and a bunch of tokens for your character. And so look at this. I just pulled this out of there. More. And then look at all this stuff in there. Each of these comes out. Now look at how tightly packed everything is in this case. There was no way, and this was a very elegant solution someone found, but it still sits like almost an inch high. So instead of that, we now have this fantastic solution. So these boxes are bigger, at least longer than the regular boxes. You have to purchase them separately, in that you have to, they're not generic. Each one is covered in graphics for that game. So if you, obviously if you have Pirates, you're going to buy the ones as Pirates, I would assume. If you want to get Tiny Epic Dinosaurs and stick your Pirates in it, I guess you could. But what they have, it's not just a box, though. I love that the boxes are longer, providing more space, and they stack. I do love that, but that's not the only thing. Look at that stacking right there. Magic. And they're compatible with Calyx. The crucial element here is that the interiors have sorted spacing. Spacement? Would that be outer space in your basement? Oh, I feel a Fraggle Rock reference coming. So anyway, look at this. We got some clear plexi on top, which is great. You can see your stuff inside there. Love that. All these little miniatures got a home, right? Specific to them. Everything is set up, ready to go. So you can easily pull it out, keep it organized. They're much bigger than a regular box, so they fit everything, including expansions. Look at this stuff. How fantastic. There it is, Tiny Epic Dungeons, right? This one, that's what we're looking at right there. Look at all that stuff. I'll be honest with you, I actually never even opened the Tiny Epic Dungeons. I haven't gotten there yet. I didn't even know it had that many miniatures. And now I'm like, oh, I definitely need this. So anyway, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, I went on and on. I gotta have a special love for the Tiny Epic series. In particular, they have also an ultra Tiny Epic where they take those games and then they condense them even smaller into a deck of cards with some cubes. Whew, it's incredible. So, I really think this is a great idea. This is super helpful. I'm glad that this is doing well. I like this idea. I think that this should happen more often. I really think that the secondary market for storage is it's too niche, so there's no economy of scale that happens, so everything is just too expensive. Like if you've ever tried to purchase some Feldherr styrofoam, custom foam inserts, or one of their carry cases, I think the cheapest one is like $70. I got one of those for my Rebellion board game, so I could put and just that edition was another like $25 to $30. I'm not complaining in the sense that it's not worth it. It's just it starts to really increase the cost of things when you're buying sleeves for stuff. You're trying to find some funky Etsy solution for your storage. I love it when we can have something big where because they're doing so many, they can then pass on the savings to us. So each one of these solutions is $18. Now, admittedly, there are 16 games in the Tiny Epic collection, and 2 of them have dual boxes. They're like sort of expansions. But that's 16 at $18 a pop. That's not cheap. But it's a lot cheaper than any other solution. So if you have an interest, I highly recommend this. All right, let's move on to something new. Phantom Epoch. Epoxy? I don't even know. I don't really care. EPOCH. There you go. Figure it out. I think it's Epic. Epoch. Wow, that's going to bug me now. See? Look at that. I usually look this stuff up before I do say something silly. I want to clarify something about this. I'm not actually endorsing this. I know it's in my selects. So when I first looked at this grabbed my eye immediately. The spiral bound missions. Oh, I love that stuff. I think it's a great idea. You can fit so many stories and scenarios and maps into a really dense space, right? There's, if you ever played Stuffed Fables, they do a great job with it. There's a lot of games like that also that when they open up, they can be two-sided, so like the map can cover the entire book, or sometimes it'll just be on one half and there will be information about it. I love it. I think it's a great way to deliver a ton of content. So I was immediately intrigued, and this game was already doing pretty well. But I ran into a problem almost immediately, and that is, and again, I'm not disparaging this campaign. It's not what I'm doing. I'm just not. The neighbor's dog agrees. I'm just not explicitly endorsing it. So here was my hiccup. They are okay, so they're using game trays, which is awesome because we just had a whole conversation about how difficult it is to cram stuff inside. And but the game trays, and that's with a Z, the company, which is I love that company. They're great. But the problem is the base game doesn't come with that, and that hurts me a little bit. I really feel like if you have game trays in your, oh my God, yes, my neighbor's dog is rambunctious, to say the least. I don't think it's going to end anytime soon, so we're going to plow through. Sorry. I really feel if you're going to add game trays, I don't think it should be a higher tier. I think it should be a stretch goal. It should be included. That should just be something that you do for everybody. And I really, really wish they would shut that dog up. Now, let me pop out of here. Okay, so I had... Okay, so here was my second... Sorry, I'm coming back in. Here was my second issue. I read the rules for every game. Like, everything I put up here, I have read the rules. Well, Funderdogs, Pix, and Maxilex. The super funds, I don't always do that because they're usually... I bring them in to be... sometimes just as a lesson, or to demonstrate a point. When I downloaded this one, I actually got a loading bar. It's 64 pages. That's a lot. That is a really dense instruction manual. Sorry, I'm hearing my neighbors. However, everything about this thing is just screaming to me. It's sci-fi. It's got standees instead of miniatures. I love this art. I mean, you can get these things, but this is the majority. I like this. There's so much content. Like, I really want... see, there we are. Game trays! Standees. Look at that. 98 standees. I don't know that you need 98, but here they are. So, and then you got character boards for everyone, and then you enhance your characters. I think they even have like some sealed stuff that you don't get to find out until later. Yeah, I mean, but by the way, we're scrolling. We're not even halfway down here. Okay, so now, so I like everything. I like these player boards. I like all the stuff. It's just too much. It's too dense. And also, I want to point out something here. The arsonist thing. And then, as you can see, the cover of the game over here. There you go. You notice that? If that is at all familiar to you, it might be because it's basically the set for the elusive man from Mass Effect 2. Standing in front of a dimmed sun on a shiny reflective floor. And that's literally their art. I don't know why there's been so many direct rips of video games. But I still think it's cool. Like, I don't really care. I mean, it's a great image. It looks cool, and it's only been done once. So somebody had to be the first one to get inspired by the elusive man, which, by the way, was a fantastic character. Brilliant. Yeah, I want this to succeed because we need more science fiction in the space. It's just, this is just a lot of game. I encourage you to read the rules. If it sounds up your alley, please back it. it looks like a ton of great stuff, but this was one of the few times that I put up a select that I just couldn't bring myself to read all the rules. It was late and my brain hurt, but it looks so cool. All right, sorry. That was that select. Let's move on to something that's not a game. The Celtic Animal Knot Dice. I gotta be honest with you. Well, these are gorgeous. I love them. This purple one was like a stretch goal that they reached. The base is green. Now here's the thing. I will state. Also, this is a type of resin, I'm assuming, because they show the light can pass through it, so it's translucent. Love it. My only issue is they're really not very good as dice. As you can see, these are some super tiny number indicators, but that's not what these are. These really aren't for you to be rolling in your game. These are for you to dump in a pile somewhere and just look awesome. But there is, what's really cool, if you get, here, I'll pop out. Over here, there is this right here, this 18 six-sided, that actually has a puzzle, a series of puzzle games that you can play. I mean, I'm assuming it's just assembling it in a certain order, but still. 6 sides of each one. You got to arrange them into, I think that's great. And then if you don't want to do the games, you can just get some 8 and 4-siders and build yourself some pyramids. Look at that. Oh, sorry. Let me get out of there. Look at that. Isn't that great? I bet you there's some down here. Yeah, there. Look at that. How awesome is that? Love it. And the $40 for 18 dice that are this cool, I think that is beyond reasonable. I think this thing is a great, and I hope they get tons more backing. I think they're doing really well already, though. Yeah, 40 grand for dice, doing okay. But it wouldn't be bad to do better. All right, next up, we have Meeplify, I think. I don't know. I know that's next. I just don't know if that's how you say it. I just thought this was cool. It's 160 different meeples of different types that you can print out yourself. There are monsters in here that are so cool. Look at these things. I want these meeples. Why are the meeples in my games so dull when this is possible? All this did is make me rage at the lack of design and artistry in the meeples and all my other games. Killing me. I don't really have a lot to say here. I mean, it is what it is. It's a bunch of STL files that you can print out and have some fun with. I think it's awesome. I just think they're so cool. And I mean, obviously the colors, that's up to you. But look at that. Oh, I want that parrot, dude. Is there a Kraken? I want a Kraken and a pirate. And then this is all sealed. I guess not. But we got some space. Oh, this is so cool. All right, next up. Actually, we're done with this section. And we're heading into a new section for me, which I've not done before. The classroom. This is, let me make sure I have it. Yes. Okay. So we're going to talk about Halloween 2, the game. Why is it the classroom? Because there's a lesson in here. And there's actually 2 lessons in here. Now, let me just say, design-wise, looks cool, looks spot on. I mean, this, it's got the vibe, okay? But there are 2 things. Potentially 3. But the first 2 things are One, there's no rules. I don't know why there are no rules. That doesn't make any sense. And what does it matter if they're like, I don't know what they're hiding. I understand that sometimes when people are doing roll and writes, they don't want to put out the rules because you can then basically just play the game. You don't even need them anymore. And I get that reluctance, but ultimately anybody who was going to just take your rules and go play your game wasn't going to buy your roll and write anyway. So you're really not shooting yourself in the foot there. But with this is the third game that they've created. So there's no rules. I think that's really weird. Also, you may not know it. You probably don't know it, because I didn't know it until going through this thing like 3 or 4 times. This is actually the game board. Okay? But Mac, how do you traverse this game board? How do you progress through this? What happens? It just looks like a series of pictures in picture frames. Well, I'm glad you asked, nebulous person that's not here. I don't know. Apparently, the way you traverse the board dictates the difficulty of the game. So they'll show you this down here. Here it is. 3 difficulty levels. Michael's Path level 1. Now, if you notice, Michael's Path level 1, 2, and 3, all the images at the top and the side here appear to be the same. So you're just traveling through here in a different pattern. But here's the thing. How do you keep track? Like, that's the whole point of a board, is to let you know. This is just squares. And it's somewhat confusing squares. This is weird. But maybe it works. That's fine. My biggest issue was the rules. There's a lack of rules. Now, this next piece is not really an issue, but it's something that just sticks in my craw. And I'm going to share it with you. What is Stop the Killer? So that's this brand, this game. So the first one was Silent Night, Deadly Night, My Bloody Valentine. So you see they're all based on existing IPs. Okay? Here's my problem. What is this game? Well, their answer is, if you have the previous 2 releases in the series, you know how they're played. Really? And now I'm just going to wrap up with my final piece. So here is the first tier. $59. $60, you get the game with everything that comes with it. Fair price, I would say. You know, getting the expansions. Now, if you back 2 copies, look at that, you get a little discount. Now it's $99, right? So it was $60. And now the second copy is only $40 more. That's awesome. Now, if you buy 3, what do you think that price should be? Did you see it? If you back 3, so if you back 2, it's $100, right? So the price dropped by $20 to $40. So if you get a third one, it's either going to be $40 more, or maybe even $30 more, because now, you know, economy of scale, right? So that'd either be $130 or $140, right? $150. So for some reason, the third game costs more than the second. What's going on? So, here ends the inaugural, maybe first, maybe last, edition of The Classroom. All right, so now we are going to jump over into the super funded. All right, so the first one up, let's hope it went right, is... Yes, crossbows and catapults. This is weird. they're doing just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and speak my mind here. $500,000. These are the people that brought back to us the Dark Tower and I think Vendetta, or was it the racing? We'll check. The racing game. Thunder Road Vendetta. They also brought us Fireball Island and Stop Thief, which I had never heard of before, so I don't know. Anyway, here's the thing. I have Fireball Island. I wish I didn't. It is barely a game. And that's fine because it was barely a game when it came out. All they did was bring it back and make it better constructed, right? So for what they did a great job. It's just on me that I thought that maybe it would be enhanced and improved, and that's entirely my fault. Had I actually read everything, I wouldn't have bought it. So, paid for it. Backed it. Jeez, I'm just the worst today. The Dark Tower, I gotta be honest with you, I think the 80s version was better. Like, the Dark Tower, like, did things. You know, sound effects and all that. And this one kind of did things like it dropped the little skulls and it rotated and lit up. But still, though, not a good game. Like, these were those crap novelty board games from the 80s that really didn't matter. You played them once and you did not care ever again. And unfortunately, that's what Crossbows and Catapults really is. At the end of the day, this is just chasing nostalgia because it's... Okay, now to be fair, the original game had some neat mechanics. Like, you can move your men. So you had some men, like you had like 6 guys, and then a king. And if they hit your king, if you got knocked over, they got to fire again. And you won when either you eliminated all their men, or you could launch a disc, and if it landed on like the castle or something, you could turn it into a spy. And I think you could win if you had 4 of those, which who could do that? Who could pull that off? But the original one had discs, right? And they brought that back. The discs are good. What they've done here that's a really cool improvement is they have taken away the rubber band factor. So this one is pressure based, so you just squeeze it to shoot it. This one has a spring down in there, and I also like that you can rotate this little dial here to change the angle, which is fantastic because if you ever played, like, there's another game similar to this from ILO that's Catapult something. And instead of discs, you fire like little balls, like little boulders, and it's a pain in the butt because they always roll away. So I like the disc better, but also it's really managed just by you flick, and it's just how hard you flick is the trajectory. This lets you actually alter the trajectory in advance and then fire always from that trajectory. That's great. Then they've come up with 2 new things. We got Ballista, which now it looks like we're leaning back into. This is probably springs and a string, so it's not rubber bands. And then this is awesome. A trebuchet that can fire 2. Okay, I don't know how well it does because it's clearly not functioning like an actual trebuchet, but it's just another catapult. But it's cool, and it fires 2. Now, so what you do is whenever you put a dude out in the game, that's where you can put whatever weapon you're going to use to fire. So that was what the mechanic was. It wasn't just like in the other catapults and Crusaders or something from ILO, that you just launch, just keep launching. And you're just tearing down their building. Here, there's a little bit of strategy, and then you have to move your guy, and wherever you place it, and you can only place it so far. You have to stay in your half of the board. And wherever you place a dude, you move your thing. But that also means that your dude is now exposed and can be a target. So that's the give and take that's going on here. Now, they have... Okay, so here's the thing. That's a neat mechanic. This game's fun, maybe twice. And honestly, now they have this super version, Fortress War, and there's like a little prison where you got to get from the outset. There's one of your guys is in there. I'm assuming that if you like knock everything off of the prison, maybe you get your guy back. And then there's mercenaries in this one that you can hire. You got all these cards to play, and this is a lot of content that really brushes up against the ILO version of this game. Here's the thing. So I downloaded the rulebook. It tells you squat. It tells you nothing about how this works. Literally, the rules for the Fortress versus the rules for the regular game are nearly identical, except that the setup is slightly different. That you put a dude in a jail cell. I mean, literally, I think that's like the only difference. They tell you nothing about how the mercenaries work, about any of the cards. They don't give you any reason to try and go for this much larger pledge. Yeah. So, here's my other thing that I really don't like. First of all, the game, to get the... Pop out of there. This Fortress War for $90, that's the one that gives you all of this extra stuff, you know, all the extra pieces, and you got the cards and the mercenaries and all that, but it doesn't come with the 2 new weapons. What the hell, man? Like, really? Take away some of the building blocks from the fortress and give me those 2 extra weapons, man. That's like literally the entire thrust of this game is firing discs. Make the firing discs more fun. Oh, you did? Great. Oh, wait, I can't have it? What? So to get the advanced weapons, you got to cough up $145. No. 145. No. I'm so disappointed. Yeah, I don't. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to stop, because that's what I should do. We're going to move on to the next super funded, Stalker. Now, Stalker the board game. Here we go. So why did I say Stalker the board game? Aside from the fact that it's there at the top, is because it's a video game. And clearly doing just fine. Think it got funded. So, this is hands down top 5 most confusing campaigns I've ever read through. I'm not kidding. I read through it at least 5 times before I was able to parse everything that was happening here. And I'm still not even confident. But first and foremost, where's the rules, man? Come on. Like I'm just telling you straight up, that is a disqualifier for the Funderdogs. So hard and fast rule, there needs to be rules. Now, I make an exception in the Funderdogs if the game itself is presented in the campaign and it's not a very complex game, so you can pretty much parse what's happening. I still though, if I have questions, if there's like the people who make Here to Slay, who have a campaign out right now, another card game, and they didn't tell you how you earned gold, and so I could not recommend it. I was not happy about it because there was this one factor that just didn't make sense. So if something like that happens, then you're out. But if there's no rules at all, typically you're out as a Funderdog unless it's a really simple game that I could parse. But this game is insane. Like, holy heck! Look at here you go. Here is the core pledge. Do you see all this? I need some rules, folks. Hey, here's a Geiger counter. For each one of your dudes has a Geiger counter. And they have all these spaces to load out. Like you can put a weapon here, and then you can put attachments for it. Man, I need some rules. What are the dice for? What am I rolling for specifically? Why are there so many tokens? So that's the one thing. I will say, if you have an interest in this, $95 gets you a ton of stuff. Think about this. For $90, you could have that catapult game from a second ago, or you could have this. And if I had $90 to burn, I don't think it's a hard call. So anyway, the lack of rules is a huge issue. The second issue is this is really convoluted and dense. To the point that this is one of those games that it's like, really, did it need to be a board game? Maybe it was just stayed as a video game, or more specifically, that's not the right question. The right question is, did you need to chase that many elements of the video game? Could you not have maybe found the essence of the game? Pick out a couple of mechanics and drill down. For example, this Cuphead. Okay, Cuphead, the board game, is mind-blowing for how it delivers the video game experience on the board. Now, they could have drilled down and tried to give us every little, like, made it a deck building, move placement, object avoidance stage, where you're taking your time strategizing, trying to get from one end to the other, and then you got to, fight against this boss. No, instead, you roll dice as fast as you can to try and fill up your cards in the correct order. And you're just going. You have a timer, and you're losing your mind trying to do it, and it's incredible. They found the quintessence of Cuphead and put it in a box. The quintessence of Stalker is surviving the post-apocalypse. Right, and obviously there's a radiation element. This all ties into Fallout and Wasteland video games, but I gotta believe there was a better way to distill this game. Okay, so that's my main. The other thing that just stuck in my craw is how difficult it is to parse that. See right here, they're not included in the core box. So this tiny little thing over here, we got all this stuff happening, and then there's this tiny little box that says, oh, by the way, all these things that we're showing you that were just larger than life, that keep saying zone threats. Oh, but they're not in the core box. They're in the Zone Threats miniatures pack. So you gotta get the zone threats, but do you need them? I don't know. Here's the anomaly. Here's what you actually get over here, right? It says anomaly, and it starts listing some things, and it shows you some things. And if you're just running through this, you're just gonna go, oh, that's awesome. That's part of that expansion. No, it's not. The anomaly expansion comes with cards and standee tokens. The models are from the anomaly miniature pack. Okay, and then. Here's my, we're not even getting into the campaign thing. But here's the last thing that bugged the crap out of me. I went back and forth on this for a while before I finally understood, because they don't explain it to you, that this little binder setup for your cards that you can like put your crew together and create teams to go into, you don't get the binder. You just get the sleeve pages and you just get the pages. Go get your own binder. Okay. And then here's the final thing. Where does it show it? It should. Okay, here we go. So you can see how this keeps going. We're at the halfway mark, by the way. Everything we've done, we're at the halfway mark. Here's some stretch goals. Here's some stuff. just keeps going. Oh, day 4, day 5, miniature showcase. Here you go. At least this is at the end instead of at the top. Okay, and then here's a collector's chest that has no gameplay value. This is just $200 for a statue and some patches and an ammo box. Yay. Okay, and here's an alternate you can get them the Sundrop version instead of just standard gray, which really just looks like it's beige with patina on it. And then here's our quality. Great, you guys do make really high quality stuff. How do I play your game? And you know that the shipping is going to be horrendous. Now, what I wanted to show is, where is it? Stalker? No. Oh, they fixed it. So for the first couple of days of this thing, the description here for the anomaly pack. Oh, no, here it is. There you go. So here's the anomaly pack. This is the attention to detail. So they got all this stuff going. And this is the anomaly miniature pack, 20 anomaly models. And this is the anomaly miniature pack, except, oh wait, it's the terrain. I mean, I know that's nitpicking, but if you can't even parse your own campaign, how much hope do I have for the ephemeral rulebook that I've yet to see? Yeah, I'm not in love with this. I have a friend who is planning to get this, and there was a lot of good stuff about it that I thought was very interesting, and I like that they have this method here through GameFound that you can stretch pay, so you can pay it in installments. Though there's a part of me that says, if it's so expensive that it requires payments, is that a good thing for a board game? I'm not sure. But then, I backed Marvel United, so what the hell do I know? We're going to move on because I have nothing else to say here. Again, I can't speak to the quality of the game. I mean, the stuff looks okay, but it looks overburdened, and there's no way to know how it plays because there's no rulebook. So now we're going to move on to something that's... I'm going to piss some people off. Firefly, the game. All right, so... what is it? Well, it's just the 10th anniversary. It's the same game. You just get all of the expansions, right? And look, that's great. Sorry, I'm just making sure that these things function. I'm on a different computer now. Don't at me. But I just wanted to double check this. Yeah, so it's $220 for a game that, okay, first off, you heard me earlier, I'm all about the sci-fi. Western sci-fi with this Asian influence. Firefly was everything I ever wanted in a science fiction show. It's absolutely fantastic, The recently discovered misadventures of Joss Whedon notwithstanding, this was amazing. So many fantastic actors that I really feel should have done tremendously more. I mean, several of them have done a ton. Wash has been everywhere. I think Wash has been in more Disney movies than anybody in history. I mean, he was the chicken in Moana. I mean, he got a credit for that. What did he have? 3 lines? I'm not complaining. I love the man. He's fantastic. If you haven't seen the first season of the Doom Patrol, you are doing yourself a disservice. He literally makes that entire first season, which is also why I stopped watching in the second season, because he's not in it. So here's my issue with this game. is it's the 10th anniversary edition. They didn't change anything. This game is very clearly a product of its time. The art design is lackluster. The board is like from that weird transition from the initial board game renaissance into where we started just like ideas just started exploding and things could be anything. But here we are back to just quadrants and sections on a board. I mean, even Rebellion made this look more appealing. And Rebellion was way simpler. There's a ton going on here, and if you're into Firefly and you got 220 to burn, I guess this is for you. Alternatively, right now, if you paid an extra $60 or $70 at $270, you could get the entire season of Firefly on Blu-ray and a 55-inch television from Best Buy to watch it on. So I really don't have anything to add. It's got a lot of cards. So I guess we'll just end that there, and we will I have one more prop to share with you. In the last live stream, talked about a super fund from AEG, where they are offering an amazing deal on catching up on several different games. Today, in the mail, well, in a package from UPS, I got an AEG game. Shake That City. I can't remember when I backed this, but it's been a while. Just got it today. I love the concept. I will probably do a little breakdown of why I purchased it, not of the game. I don't review games. That's not my thing. But I will do a breakdown explaining the Kickstarter campaign and why I backed it, and what caught my eye and what they did right and whatnot. It also comes with a bunch of stuff, stickers, and it looks like an expansion, because the way the game works, you take a bunch of blocks, you put them inside this thing, and you shake it until the blocks fall down into their slots, and then you lift them up, and then the pattern they're in, that's how you have to add those blocks onto your player board. Looked fun, wasn't too expensive, thought it would be interesting, and AEG makes tiny towns, which I think is great. All right, so that's it for this. Had a lot of I was nice to my friend and didn't call him out at the beginning, and I'm not going to call him out now, but I am going to point out that we're a little behind today because massive changes to the system. How I deliver this. New tech took a while to implement, but everything went smoother, I think you noticed. Also, there's going to be, I'm going to separate out these Funderdogs, and if you are a Funderdog, I'm going to be reaching out to you to give you the badge from it, and hopefully I can get some more people to agree to some interviews, because I believe everybody who has a game on Kickstarter or GameFound has a story to tell and has information that anybody out there looking to do this needs. So hopefully I'll get to talk to more of you folks soon. Everybody else, have a fantastic weekend. End of line.